Good morning, viewers, and welcome to the Market Review, where we bring you developments in the financial and capital market as it impacts the economy. We're still in this season where the protests in Nigeria against police brutality has taken a new dimension from what happened yesterday, what is described as a Black Tuesday, where protesters, unarmed protesters, were attacked by security forces. Though it is quite strange and surprising that it has been denied by the Nigerian army. So the big question is who sent those security forces. It's very important. And once again, we reiterate the importance of the investigation promised by the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Ottoabasi Abasiekong. It's very important that this is given 100% focus and the whole issues unraveled, because as it is happening now, we face serious socio-economic crisis if this issue is not really addressed. Today we'll be looking at the fallout of the protests and its already growing impact on the Nigerian capital markets. I'd like to know that already, as we speak to you, one of our media groups in the country, TVC News, have reported attacks on their facilities by hoodlums. We totally condemn that action because, again, it endangers the role of the media in providing information. It's a very, very important side in terms of its role and function in information. So we totally condemn the actions of the hoodlums who have attacked the facility and installation of the TVC building. It is totally unacceptable, and it therefore calls for caution. That action calls for caution, and we appeal to security forces to guarantee the protection of assets. Yesterday, the Inspector General of Police announced the deployment of anti-riot police forces across the country to protect lives and critical infrastructure across the country. The media has a key role to play, and we implore security forces to provide required security because of the role the media plays. So we totally condemn the action of attacking and burning the studios and the facilities of TVC News. We just hope that all our colleagues there are safe and this doesn't degenerate to a very unfortunate situation. Like I said, the fallout of the incidents of protests in Lagos State is really now a major concern because, like I said earlier, Lagos is Nigeria's financial and capital market hub. Lagos is home to the headquarters of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Lagos is also home to the headquarters of the FMDQ Securities Group. And Lagos is also home to the NASD OTC exchange. Those three are part of the key exchanges in the Nigerian capital market ecosystem, and combined will account for over 70 trillion naira capitalization combined together. And so we appeal that this whole protest, that the hoodlums and those that are taking advantage of this to create rancor and disaffection and heightened tensions in Lagos are cautioned and brought to book, because it is really becoming a serious concern. There are reports that yesterday 3 banks who are listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange were burned, the buildings were burned around Lekki axis. That again is a major concern. Today is one very day of reflection, because every investor, private equity or venture capital investor, will be watching the situation in Lagos,
with huge concerns. Security is one of the most important ways of attracting investments to a city. And this incident, again, brings to question the security, the value for lives, and how this will inform decisions for investors across the globe. The international community has expressed concerns. The presidential candidate for the Democratic Party in the United States of America, Senator Joe Biden, has called for restraint in the use of military forces on protesters. Same with the former Secretary of State in the United States of America, former First Lady, and Democratic presidential candidate Senator Hillary Clinton also has expressed concerns over the spate of protests. Celebrities in the country, Nigerian rich diaspora, they've all expressed their concerns. And in the words of Professor Pat Utomi, a political economist and one you call an elder statesman, we have a global tribe of young people who are well connected, and so this incident calls for a lot of caution in the use of force on youthful protesters who have been peaceful and unarmed. And so the miscreants, or we call them the hoodlums, that are carrying out this spate of attacks on buildings, on infrastructure, are heightening the tension and insecurity level in Lagos, and it calls for a lot of caution. It will interest you to also note that over 60% of listed companies in the Nigerian Stock Exchange have their head offices in Lagos. So every company now will be exploring one or two options. First is the remote access working model, which we said ProShare, Nigeria's leading financial information hub, has already reactivated and has committed to continue to engage its subscribers and clients, providing that required provision of market information and market intelligence this period. Or also carrying out various ways of its operations to ensure that this period, as we have a curfew in Lagos since 9 p.m. yesterday, that operations move in a very smooth and seamless manner. Lagos is also home to key logistics companies in the country. Some of them are listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. And this again brings to how logistics issues will be managed this period. It is very important that we bring to note the fact that this incident has led to the need for the private sector, the organized private sector, where we have several of the listed companies, to forge various conversations and forums on how we can address this situation. It is important to also note that Lagos State has a security trust fund which private sector players are involved in. Top captains of industry and industrialists make contributions there, and so it will be expected that in the course of the day we should have a forum between the state governor to really ask the required questions on what is being done to guarantee security and steps taken to address what happened yesterday, which is a big eyesore to the country. The media has a role to play, and of course, we will kick against any attempt to gag the media this period because balanced, objective reporting remains the core of the media. Independent reports that are not influenced are very important. The social media has played a very key role in unraveling the things that are happening this period, and it's also important. Quoted companies will continue to leverage the digital platforms to engage their clients and subscribers to provide required information this period, because that's very important. Investors also will be monitoring the performance of the market this period. Investors will also be very key to watch their behavior. As we featured yesterday, Mr. Boyodeji, who said this period has been a lot of impact, the performance in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the performance in the FMDQ space, the debt market and fixed income, and of course unlisted securities. So in this period, as several forums and discussions are being carried out, it's very important that the market continues to explore ways it can engage with policy makers and ensure that security is given that important priority. And so axes like the Marina axis in Lagos would need reinforcement of security as when things happen like this in terms of the activities of hoodlums and thugs going around to attack buildings, safety is very key. Marina is home to a lot of quoted companies in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and of course is where we have the Stock Exchange and the NSDOTC. Axis of the Victoria Island also will be places to watch in terms of security of properties, as this is also home to various companies' headquarters that are listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. There has been interesting stories about venture capital companies and what they're doing. Recently, Paystack, a leading company in the fintech space, got acquired to the tune of $200 million by Stripe, a leading global company. That showed again the ingenuity and the creativity of young people who are doing great exploits, leading companies to create value and valuations that are mouth-watering. Paystack has its operations also in Lagos, just to show you how critical Lagos again is in terms of Nigeria's economic and technology space. And so this brings to the fore the need for the issues of security to be taken seriously, because if this is not managed, there are concerns that we may see more flights in terms of investments. And we'll be watching the Nigerian Stock Exchange, particularly the foreign portfolio investment activities, what happens in that regard. And so, very importantly, we expect a lot of statements. The key exchanges should roll out statements on how they would carry out operations further in this period, particularly the curfew and the spate of violence we're seeing from the hoodlums and miscreants who have noted at making this whole peaceful protest exercise a cause of concern. And this is not to take away the fact that effective police reforms is what is required to ensure that every citizen is valued. But the markets, whether financial capital, cannot be divulged from the impact of what is happening. And yesterday's event brings again to the fore the need for us to strengthen our democracy, which will in turn make our financial and capital markets more accessible and liquid and globally competitive. So we will expect more statements from leaders in the capital markets. Also, the Apex regulator, Security and Exchange Commission, and various steps being taken by companies to ensure that staff and their infrastructure are secure this period. Don't also forget that the Central Securities Clearing Systems PLC, the leading central securities depository in Nigeria, also has its head office operations in Lagos, in Marina. So it's just very important to monitor how the developments are going to impact the market, and we're just hoping that security forces use every skill and tact in ensuring that normalcy is restored in the state, because nobody wants to invest in an environment that is hostile. And Lagos has been relatively peaceful. It's one hub for market activities, for venture capital, private equity, the broader capital market space. And so we'll be monitoring those developments. But if you're just joining, just remind you that, like the reports of 3 banks listed in the market that were burnt along the Lekki axis, which is being monitored. And that brings again concerns about how listed companies across the exchanges are going to navigate this period. In the course of the week, we hope to engage stakeholders further to give you insights on it. But just in terms of how the market played out in terms of tracking and following the trend of what's happening in the market. Interestingly, yesterday was a plus in terms of the market activities for the previous day. Investors showed some optimism in a way as the NSCSI inched up. It inched up by marginally 0.03% amid improved market breadth. Yes, that showed that it closed yesterday on a positive, as the NSCSI appreciated plus 0.03% to close at 28,665.82 basis points, as against plus 0.00%, which was a flat position recorded previously. Its year-to-date returns currently stands at plus 6.79%. Still on that performance, the market breadth closed positive as international breweries led 23 gainers against 17 losers that were topped by Regal Insurance at the end of yesterday's session. It showed an improved performance when compared with the previous outlook. The market turnover closed positive as volume moved up plus 3.48% as against minus 41.26% downtick recorded in the previous session. United Bank of Africa, Zenith Bank, and the USCN were most active to boost market turnover, while Zenith and United Bank of Africa topped the market value list. Volume shockers Trans Express led the list of active stocks that recorded impressive volumes spike at the end of yesterday's session. So that's what happened in the market, and of course, very, very important development. Lagos is also home to leading investment banks across the country, and it's also a period they will also be giving some updates, and it will be important also to once again see how companies navigate this. And we appeal to all peaceful protesters across the country to continue to follow the guidelines, and in this period of the curfew, as the governor has issued a statement saying no one will be arrested, we hope that the security forces will abide by those provisions and ensure that there's a civil engagement with those protesting, and also that the hoodlums who are going around now and seeking to destroy properties and infrastructure, and in terms of that, create a very tense environment for business in Lagos, also brought to book. Still on the issue of venture capital and investments, we recognize the fact that regulations remains one very important issue. And so as we look towards the wrapping up of the fourth quarter 2020, regulations in terms of improving the environment for private equity investments will be something that the Securities and Exchange Commission would work closely with, and the Ministry of Industries, Trade and Investments. Also, we expect that the issues around patenting will improve in the country for technology-based companies in terms of those that want to really attract investments. Regulations are very important because they help to make a country attractive to investments. And we once again bring to the fore the importance of clarity in investments policies in Nigeria. We've had several attempts in making sure that our investment policies incentivize investments in the country, but there again we have another opportunity to invent ourselves and rediscover how we can open up a space to improve investment in our economy. And so that's one very important issue, trade and investment. We will also bring you further updates on what's happening. You can join our market opening gong to see performances this period. We're trying to track, is this spate of protest and its fallout really going to affect and hurt the market? How will investors react to this? What should we expect to see happen more? Those are things that you should watch out for in this period as we continue to observe the trends and developments in the Nigerian capital market. We'd like to thank you all for joining us in this special edition, and to all our viewers, we apologize for initially streaming this a bit late due to some of the developments that we're taking caution around. Just to remind you once again that Provision Nigeria's leading financial information hub has reactivated the remote access work experience, and that means that we will continue to provide service delivery to you as we monitor the situation around the curfew that was declared yesterday by the Lagos State Governor, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. To all our investors this period, continue to experience and to practice extreme caution in investments. Only those that are stocks that are fundamentally in a good state and effective stocks to go for, and seek more advice from brokers, and also engage critical information hubs like ProShare to give you the right investment decisions to take. You can join our website www.prochange.com to get further information on our market reports, videos, and analysis. We thank you very much for being part of today's edition as we continue to reflect on the state of the nation following Black Tuesday, October 2020 attacks on unarmed protesters, which is unprecedented and a very unfortunate situation. First time in the history of our country since return to the Fourth Republic democratic dispensation. We once again appeal to those that have been affected to this to exercise caution. We pay tribute to all those that lost their lives yesterday, and we also commiserate with their families. We remind the government of their role and responsibility of securing lives and properties, and urge them to once again regain and bring to the public the trust that's required in terms of ensuring that all those who are involved in this heinous act are brought to book. Let's make it happen again, same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. To come your way again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day and stay safe.